One, two, three.
All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
It's one small step for man.
Those that will not comply will cease to exist or wish that they were dead because they'll be disease-ridden. These plagues that you read about in the various holy books, these fortune-telling things that you hear from some of the psychics, these ideas that you're coming up with that things are not right, are manifested, first of all, politically, in the form of the new money. And by the way, I propose to tell you that on the 21st of next month, they will begin to issue the new money. That is their schedule. To me, people should be in the streets and protesting that right and left, but they're not doing so. By 1996, they will have the new money in place, and then if you have not turned in your old money, then it will be 2 for 1. You turn in 2 of your new monies, they'll give you 1 of the new ones that they have, your old monies, and they'll give you 1 of the new ones. That's going to really hurt a lot of people, and it also means if you have any money saved or hidden, it will become useless piles of rubbish. You can play hopscotch with it if you would. You can write on it. These kind of things are part of the New World Order, including, if you've heard any of my other tapes or lectures, a lot of other insidious things like the shots that your children will have to start taking this September. They're even getting jail terms now for parents that will not comply, and it is unconstitutional under the Constitution that we presently have. Through religious means, you can refuse that, and as African people and Afrocentric people, you should be into herbals and things anyway. So, what I'm simply saying is this: you should look into that, because the new scandal is, and I am not saying anything for those who are taping this and saying again, I'm getting radical. I'm not a radical person. I'm a very studious person and a very prayerful, meditative person. When I say these things, I have documents. I don't have time to now present them, as they say, but I can tell you about this. Come out to my classes, contact me at the center. We'll give you the detailed information. There is a group of people, parents, who have lost children through these DPT shots. Okay? They are now organizing in class action suits against various departments in the United States government. They are also helping people who don't want to get their kids vaccinated and don't want to go to jail because of it. As I say, it is still your constitutional right as of this month. We don't know how long under this New World Order before this whole thing will be suspended. If you are interested in that, please contact me or please contact the Meta Center in Chicago. My topic tonight was to be, and it still will be, but an abbreviated version of it again: will or can you survive the coming catastrophes that we've been hearing about? We understand that there are 4 basic elements that keep everything in our little section of the universe going. Earth, or what we call land. What else? Air, fire, and water. Fire can be utilized in the form of electromagnetic propagations, or what we call energies that produce like a fire thing. Lightning can be a force of that. Air, we breathe it every day. We have whole topics on oxygen and how oxygen products can help you maintain and get the fire breath into your own bodies. Also, when we talk about water, we understand that water for turbine engines and other things along this line are what keeps our entire society going. And of course, when we're talking more or less about air, we're talking about the air we breathe. Now, each of those 4 elements from the Creator, and I hope some of you believe in the Creator. If not, then call the Creator whatever you would. I believe in a first cause and an originator of all. I don't think that human made man and so on down the line. When we are faced with the earth in rebellion, we have earthquakes. Has anybody heard of any earthquakes later on, or earlier or now on this planet Earth? Anybody heard about the earthquake soon or later or previously? Okay, we are being plagued with earthquakes. When fire goes in rebellion against human, we have the kind of things that you have in the forest fires out in Oregon and in California and in Texas and Louisiana. You have lightning that will strike whole cities and people seemingly by accident. Nothing on this planet happens by accident. Everything follows a course and a pattern. It's just a matter of beginning to understand what that course and pattern is. Water, let's talk about the floods that are ravaging the South. 21 counties presently now in Georgia, and especially in Albany, that are just now costing about $11 billion a county if they ever get the money to the little people whose homes have been destroyed. We have floods throughout the land. Philadelphia now is getting rains and monsoon rains. I just came from Chicago. We had unprecedented rain, if you call it, this year. You know what you've had here yourself. The waters in most of the oceans are also rising. They don't tell you that. But understand that that means that all coastal areas, per se, facing the waters are in deep trouble, not just from earth and fire, but water. And last of all, the very thing that gives us our life, the air we breathe. When air is in turbulence and the element of air goes against humans, you get hurricanes, tornadoes, windstorms, seiches, whirlpools, and all whirlpools are those eddy currents working in water. You even have combined things now, combined elements working against and to the detriment of man. We read in the Holy Bible, for those of you who are biblical. We read in the Quran, for those of you who are Islamic. We read in most of the holy sage books of Confucian, Lao Tse, that there will be times of great plagues upon the land that was called Shan or Terra, that is our planet Earth, and that when these plagues hit, none that does not have the mark or none that does not carry the spiritual essence will be saved alive. It doesn't say they will not be saved. It says they will not be saved alive. It simply means that you have the potential to lose the physical body. Metaphysics, which I try to expound on and teach and reach and pray to understand, teaches that we are not physical but in physical bodies. So that is made up of a planet must go back to that planet when these things begin to happen. Already you hear about AIDS. You're hearing about a disease now in New York, in Philadelphia, in California, in Lower Saskatchewan, Canada, in Chicago, in Houston, and I'm not sure how many other places. These just come to my mind, where there's a virus that is now eating its way from inside out, consuming people's entrails and then causing a speeded up type of cancer, melanoma on the skin. In Australia, and you're not hearing much of this on the news, but check it out. In Australia, you have close to 26,000 rabbits per 100 acres of land. Now that might not mean much to you, but understand that kind of propagation and that those are the ones that eat vegetables, the same thing that can help our immune systems to fight off things again. Now hear this figure and you won't want to believe it. You have close to 32 million rats, 32 million rats for 200 acres in Australia. The people are giving up their lands because the rodents are plagued, and the rodents carry other disease organisms with them, including fleas, malaria, and other kind of diseases. And they go to the shoreline, they infect the lower animal vibrations there. After that, we have found now that the United States government and other so-called first world powers are dumping pure radiation into the oceans. They are dumping PCBs, psilocybins, things that are very detrimental to the human body and to all of mankind on this planet. They are so polluting the waters that the highest vibration of mammals are dying. Some of you may know what I say, this little phrase, that Nomo is vacating the earth and giving up the life sperm in order to keep the oceans sacred for just a little bit longer. For those of you who did not understand that, I simply say this. There are ancient teachings that the new spirit came into the land, not only in man, but in the porpoise and in the dolphin, who were to keep at least quiet the beasts that were brought from other planets by humans, and to keep them from destroying all of the life forms that were in the ocean that had spiritual essence. That's why they're very psychic. They are already giving up their spirit to try and change the vibrations of the oceans. Now, you may not like that, you may not even believe that, but remember, you heard that. When Nomo gives up the ghost, so much others, and this is where, again, you have so many innocents dying. It is all part of a plan. Since we cannot die, but we can only transform ourselves, then some life forms, like in Rwanda, like in Biafra there in the, the 60s, like in Zaire and places like this, These little spirits, these little children, know that they will not have long to stay physical, but they're willing to come in, these kind of spirits, to give up their essences still in purity to change vibration. Sacrifice is happening all over this planet. I guess it kind of bugged me as I listened for a while here, and I normally would not have been maybe exposed to that, and I'm glad it is because the Creator works in mysterious ways. I heard a debate here between a black woman and black men as to what politics should be followed. Understand something, and I'm not putting down Brother Sharpton. I love him. I had him on my radio show when he was in Chicago. I'm not putting down El Maddox. I'm not putting down Falani. I'm not getting involved in any of that. What I'm simply saying is this: all of these politics will be nondescript within 3 years' time, and remember, you heard me say that. They don't even intend to honor any constitutional rights. They want to assume dictatorial powers, and they want to kill off anybody spiritual of any color because they're afraid that the planet is going to rebel against them and they will be dead. So understand this too. Let's put first things first. There's a spiritual side to things for those of you who understand spirit. There's a practical side, and I think spirit is very practical for those of you who just understand mundane physical things. And there is a mental side of things for those who can think both spiritually and physically and do the best they can, not to survive, but to be able to go and walk tall in the new vibrations. Now, for some of you, this will sound silly. Good. For those of you who can understand vibrations, you will see that there's a message that I'm giving you, the one that you've been wanting to hear, and the one that you will find very practical as soon as you leave here. Did you notice the rain that began to fall while all of the turmoil was going on here, if you would, and when some of you wanted to leave, you couldn't because it was raining too badly. So you had to hear both sides of the story. Nature always speaks, and nature always reacts to man's vibrations, to man's thoughts, not so much to human thoughts and to mankind, but to man. When man can understand, and I'm talking about a neuter gender, I'm talking about womb man as well as man, I'm talking about the phylum that has a relationship with the higher forces of the universe, who are here on this little planet for a little test for a little while, and that test this time, once again, is nearing an end. How do you know? Just observe. When the four basic primary forces act negatively in mass, the planet is now turned upon its chief inhabitant. Earth herself, fire, water, and air are turning on you. You can still quell that spiritual essence of those fire elements, of those water elements, if you get in sync and in tune. Once your bloodstream is messed up with these shots, once your mind is polluted with some of the rap music and record, which has a beta beat, a control beat, it's the same kind of way where they use altered states and subliminals to control masses of people. Once they dangle the politics, and on the federal level, you have no control any longer as black people of any politics in this nation. The computers are programmed against you. Hear what I said. Once you begin to understand all of that, and that the real fight has nothing to do with politics, has nothing to do with what religion you are, has nothing to do but one thing: who will survive on this planet into the new age and who will die or have to leave it. Your melanin, and you've heard me say this before, some of you have the tape, The Melanin Wars. Your melanin is your key, and that's why you were born into black bodies during this dispensation. It can change vibrations. It can work with the elements of water, fire, air, and on the earth itself, from which your body is mainly composed. It can help you to adapt, but low melanin, low ACTH secretion from the pineal gland cannot adapt. That is the one that has animal poisons in it, animal serums within it. It is the one when the mind and the brain cannot hit on high functions, but goes on a low beastly function. Melanin renews itself every night between 10:30 and 3 o'clock, general. During this time, you get the energy to stay in these bodies, keep them strong, and keep your minds clean. Our planet, as is well pointed out, and if you have any doubts of this, look at all the study on melanin, look at the Atlanta child murders, look at the extraction that is being taken from black bodies before the people are entombed, to get that melanin out of the pineal gland, to get it from the orchic gland of the little males, and from the little uterus from the little children, the females at puberty. Why do you think they want this? Why are they trying to make synthetic melanin? It is all for one reason. It is that when in a physical body that will help you to raise your vibrations, to take the new emanations directly from the sun and not die, not become sick in the mind and body, and help you to live through even radiation poisonings that will kill off what you now consider your enemy. Let me say something about that briefly too. In many cases, some of you were your enemy. Now that was another one you probably don't like also. I can't help that. I try to speak truth. Some of you incarnated as a Caucasian at another time. This time you're in black bodies and you like it so, but you have a chance now to be more warrior. You have a chance now to get rid of some of that hatred and things along this line by coming into it in the black body. Everything on this planet is in synchronization. Everything is in order. If you don't like the order as it is, then you must change mentally your thoughts. Spiritually, then your vibrations. The planet doesn't ask it. It senses that, and where it finds that, it gives it its best. Where it doesn't find it, as of now, it is trying to annihilate it or removing. So much so that the planet has sent out an SOS. That SOS has been heard by the people who inhabit the sun vibration. That is your highest fire sign. They are now sending forth energies and beams to transpose what is normally the electromagnetic field of Earth and change it to a higher polarity. That means that people who cannot put forth the melanin, cannot raise their spiritual vibration, you don't have to worry about going to war with them. You'd lose that war anyway within 1 month's time. And let me say something again. I heard a very dangerous comment that seems to be still rising again. It went with Marcus Garvey. It was dangerous then, and that's why that movement was stopped. If you ever isolate yourselves into a couple of states or into one country, look what they're doing to the country where your ancestors and your best are anyway now. They would give you everything negative they could think of just like that. Your safety is amongst them, but not mentally amongst them. Be with the beast, but not of the beast. Understand what I'm saying to you. One man standing beside another human with the right vibrations can have lightning strike that other human and roll past the man. One man given a shot, even if they must get your arm and give you poisons, if the poisons can be prepared for, can be digested and tolerated 10 times better than the person who does not have melanin. Understand also that they are going to your ancestors' homes in the earth. Ask any of the people from Asia about that. I've talked with some of them. They understand that that preparation of the land under, where Osiris talked about, the land of the underworld, was your key when this got ready. They can't even go into some of those places, but they're duplicating them. They are building underground cities to run from all the things that are going to be unleashed on the surface, and don't have to wait long to find out if what I'm telling you is true. It is happening as we speak. As we speak, the Atlantic rises. As we speak, the Pacific rises. As we speak, there are floods in the central part of the United States. Sinkholes 2 miles wide are appearing in these flooded areas now, and things are dropping into them. In order to do that, there must be hollow spaces beneath there. Where do you think these things are going to? It will affect the pyramids, and that will be a sign that will really show that the disorders are erupting. It will affect everything on earth because it is time for a change. You want a change, but you don't understand just how drastic that change can be. And one thing is for sure, if they wiped you out to a person like they threatened, they would be wiped out within the next year totally. They cannot wipe you out. They have to assimilate with you or make you wipe yourself out and assimilate with them, and that's your problem. When you can understand who you are, when you can understand what you are, and when you can understand why you are, you will have solved most of the equation. Everything that humans, now that you call Caucasians in power, want for themselves, you should not have, because they don't have much melanin. Everything that is usually good for them is probably not too good for you because they don't have much melanin. Everything that they are afraid of is probably something that you can get along with because they don't have much melanin. Don't be confused by the O.J. Simpson trial or proposed mafia government coordinated plan to make you watch the boob tube. Understand something else. If this is not so, why would they replace the soaps that are sponsored by billions of dollars an hour across network television, worldwide, satellite communication? Why would they duplicate and replace that with the O.J. Simpson trial? Because that's the best soap, and it shows a melanin man, and it shows him going through hell. And what are you doing? You can quote that better than what's happening in many cases in your own family. That may not be true with some of you here, but I'm sure it's true with a lot of you here. Another thing they told you about the Jupiter shot, and Jupiter was going to be blasted away. All right, I won't be ludicrous. I'll say exactly what they told you. They said that Ganymede would probably be blown apart or in some way disoriented, which would affect the huge planet Jupiter because of 21 fragmented parts of a huge comet which was supposed to hit Jupiter. One of the biggest lies ever told. If you will only go back and understand that 2.5 years ago, under Alternative 3 out of the Alternative 12, and some of you have read the book, the Jason scholars proposed to send Galileo, a multi-megaton warhead, through the solar system to strike, first of all, what they thought was not Ganymede, but Titan, the largest moon of Jupiter. Then they chose Io and Europa. I have no idea how their warped minds think. But what they had was an alien engine which would now enable them to go, and that tells you before they had the alien engine, all of those moonshots and stuff was just propaganda. They went nowhere, okay? But now, as soon as they get a little power, they want to misuse it. They want to show, just like Hitler, Adolf Hitler, to rule the world, that they had the power to strike terror into the inhabitants on Titan. Turnabout now, they said it hit Ganymede. And then, what has happened to the other 20 fragments? Have you heard much about it? I haven't, after the Big Bang happened. Listen to this, and think back and go back and get your papers and see if I'm lying or not. They stated that these things, these fragments of that comet, would hit the reverse side of Jupiter, which means the side that we cannot see. If we cannot see it, and Galileo, a little pinpoint in the heavens of the Creator, can't even get from here to Mars without help, can't even get to the moon without help, how in all blazes can it send back pictures from the other side of Jupiter when all those frequency storms are happening on Jupiter itself? Come on now. Let's not believe every little lie that the great master tells us again if we're supposed to be men. That is a diversion. If they tell you to look up, where should you look? That's where you should be looking. The new money is coming out on the 21st of August. All you people that have money hidden, it's going to become confiscated as you watch it in 1.5 years' time. In 66, if you have not turned in your money, you will not get the money that you've already saved and been taxed, overtaxed, if you let me talk about it, anyway. In addition to which, that heralds the suspension of the Constitution, a declaration of martial law, and anarchy puts in America. That's why Clinton can't carry out any of his promises. He's a politician, but he had a little bit of man in him. He can't do anything. They killed his mother. Don't you understand that? Understand, folks, that as things are going now, you are being given decision-making time. You can waste your time with politics. You can waste your time with soap operas. You can waste your time worrying when they're coming from you, or you can begin to act ahead of time and bring in the very forces that can change all of this, give you the politicians you want, if you want politics, give you the body you want to stand against the radiation if you want it, give you the mental ability to fight some of the sublimation that they're constantly beaming at you, and they're bringing back, and you know this, all of the old magic once more. You see, magic is only misunderstood science. They're bringing back the very things that can help you to stand up against a tyrant. Not with machine guns. They make them better than you ever could and mask them better than you ever could. But there are things that can stop them from even trying to pull the machine gun. There are things that can stop them from even breathing to be able to think of making machine guns. But as long as you are amongst them and you don't know who you are, you give them power. They